reaction to this next story may well depend on whether you're thinking about it from the cyclist's or the driver's perspective. Later today, the government chief whip Regina Doherty and Fine Gael TD for Galway East, Kieran Callan, will publish a bill called
Michael Sheridan, is it simply that we have a city that isn't actually adequately designed for safe cycling?
Absolutely, Matt. I mean, Dublin itself, the heart of Dublin, is a medieval city where the widest thing the roads were built for was a horse and cart. So we've a very limited amount of space, and unless we go up and over or find wasteland or find some way of compulsory acquiring enough road space that we can have cyclists separated clearly from cars, the problem is going to continue. But I disagree with Kieran about the speed and slowing cars down. 5 kilometres an hour in a car colliding with a bike is well within any speed limit, and that can do irreparable harm to a person. So the blanket slowdown phrase is almost meaningless. Drivers have to pay attention. Cyclists have to pay attention again. Cyclists need to be aware of how difficult it can be to manoeuvre kilometre per hour. So the speed message isn't the message we should be putting forward. It should be the paying attention and respecting other road users. School cycling education as part of the course, and all primary schools around Ireland. Get everybody to take responsibility, and the educators need to educate.
And about 10 metre wide roads where I actually have to walk on the wrong side of the road around that bend so that an oncoming car could see me, where it's a blind spot. In other words, I have to be alert to the actual safety issues. I have no divine right to protect myself, a car legally coming at me at 50 kilometres per hour. Is there not a kind of moral hazard issue for cyclists that actually it's a dangerous thing to do, and that no amount of laws can overcome that?
Determines the mirrors on the trucks. If those mirrors aren't fitted and they have been updated through regulation, we've had to add mirrors onto manufactured trucks depicted by the Department of Environment. And the reality is that the vehicle cannot see a cyclist and won't feel a cyclist.
One thing is lights, the other thing is high vis, and you don't know how invisible you are.
Do you think high vis should be a rule for all cyclists?
Of course, yeah. And for example, Dublin bikes, they're not providing cyclists with any helmets or high vis jackets.
And a lot of people are talking to me about some cyclists, getting out at night time with not even a light, let alone a high vis.
You hear a lot of bad press for cyclists, but it's not fair. The majority of the cyclists are easy to be seen, cycling safely.
What do you think of the 1.5 to stay alive? Is it possible?
I was driving around here Dublin last night, and most of the cyclists I see didn't have any lights.
And let it said that you're visible from many kilometres because you've got high vis, you've got a luminous pink, you've got a rucksack with a luminous cover on it. You're not one of these people who is invisible.
You know, I was in France cycling, in Germany, and the amount of respect they give you when they're passing, and it's only a matter of seconds. That's all that people are saving,
There are a lot of people that don't cycle safely.
I was in the cycle lane, the defined cycle lane, and a bus passed very close to me, almost touching my elbow. I'm an experienced cyclist. I was able to cope with that, but it's a very, very frightening experience for the vast majority of cyclists. Cyclist is on his little bike, weighs about 10 kilos, doing maybe 20 kilometres an hour. In that battle, Sean, there's only going to be one loser. And what we're trying to do
is... Yeah, and maybe the basic wisdom should be you don't argue with a bus if you're on a bike.
I was in the cycle lane, the defined cycle lane.
On this, Dan in Portlaoise says, I hate cyclists. I drove in Dublin City last week. A cyclist got angry at me for not giving him enough space, so he purposely hit my car mirror and tried to show his disgust, even though he wasn't in a cycle lane. Well, did you show him enough space? I mean, the fact he's not in a cycle lane doesn't mean you don't.
There's a lot of that happening. A lot of them getting very narky and smacking cars.
You know, last week. Just listen to the story.
Cyclist started my mirror on my car, then me and the cyclist going to have a serious crash, and he won't have to be worrying about banging into my car a second time, let me tell you.
Right, well, that I'm not sure.
You have been warned.